Okay, on today's video we're going to be replacing the alternator on a 2007 Dodge Caliber. First thing we're going to do is disconnect the negative battery cable. We'll have to turn these little lock tabs to unlock this cover, pull it toward you, and it'll remove that. You loosen the negative battery cable, take that off, and put it aside. And then we're going to lift the vehicle. The alternator is down under the power steering pump, but on top of the air conditioner compressor. So we're going to remove the compressor to get to the alternator. Okay, so we're going to have to remove the tire to access the alternator. So I'm going to jack up the vehicle, and don't forget to use your safety stand. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is remove this piece of plastic here. We might have to remove the inner fender well, but I'm not sure yet. It looks like most of this one's missing anyway. But all you need is a flat screwdriver. And you'll put it in here and pull these out. Alright, can you get it?
Is it this way?
Yeah, turn it, yeah, left. Turn it to the left.
Left.
Lefty-loosey.
This lefty-loosey?
Mm-hmm. You're doing good. No, that's the right. You're going the wrong way. Turn the other way. There you go. Alright, buddy. Okay, when you get that off, that'll expose the belt and alternator. We're going to remove the air conditioner. First thing is to remove the belt. There's your belt tensioner. It's here. It looks like 14 millimeter. Let's go ahead and do a belt routing on this. It's going to come from the crank up to an idler, back around to a water pump, goes all the way to, oh, not idler, that's a tensioner. Now it goes all the way back up to an idler, then over the power steering, back down to this idler, up to the alternator, down to the air conditioner, and back to the crank. Well, that's a pretty complicated little belt routing there.
Daddy?
So that belt tensioner is 16 millimeter.
See, what is this?
Just that's where the belt is. This is the belt tensioner.
That's the belt.
So it's 16 millimeter, and I can't fit a socket in there, so I got a 60 millimeter wrench, and I locked another wrench on it like this to get leverage. And you just pull it. You want to try to pull it?
Yeah.
You just pull it.
I can pull it really hard with you.
Counterclockwise. Okay, hold it right there. And it comes the belt comes right out. Just like that. There you go. Okay, let go. Alright, the next step is to remove the air conditioner.
Daddy, I got something right here.
Okay, buddy. And I believe there's three bolts.
Something right here.
One here on the bottom. One here.
It's right
on
here
the
where the engine is. I'll try to get it out.
And they're 13 millimeter. I'm using a 13 millimeter ratchet wrench. And I'll probably have to get a socket as well. There's the top bolt. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's right there.
It's just a tiny one.
Okay, after further inspection, I'm really second guessing whether it's a bad alternator. The problem is we're having a lot of noise. And you can see that alternator pulley wobbles when it's spinning. I don't know if you can see it on the video or not. But it doesn't have any play in it at all. And it's not making noise when I spin it by hand. But that idler pulley up there, it's got a lot of residue, like oil residue on the outside of it. And it does have some play. So that might be our culprit. I think I'm going to replace that pulley first before we go through all the work of removing the alternator and see if we solve the noise problem. So I removed that pulley and it feels fine to me. Feels good. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the alternator. We're going to continue with that, and I'm going to run it up to one of these parts houses, AutoZone, I guess, and have them bench tested on their machine. And that'll tell us if that's making noise, if it's got a bad bearing in there. This doesn't feel bad, but it is wobbling, so we'll just continue with that. So we're back on removing the bolts from the air conditioner. I already got the bottom bolt out here. I'm gonna go to the top bolt. So it looks like this idler pulley is gonna have to come off to get to the lower alternator bolt here. It's kind of behind that a little bit. So we're gonna remove that 16 millimeter. Alright, I'm disconnecting the wires now. I've already taken the main wire off of this stud here with a 13 millimeter nut. And now you have, that's your main 12 volt wire. Now you have your field wires here, and it's hard to see because of the sunlight coming from the top of the roof, the hood being open. But there's a little locking tab there, that little red tab. Just pull it out and then you should be able to access the tab to push in and pull that wire out. And the top alternator bolt is accessible from the top of the car. That's it right there, right under the power steering pump. Looks like you're gonna need a 13 millimeter deep. And now the last step is to get the alternator out of here. There should be plenty of room once you pull the air conditioner. I'm hoping it doesn't have to come all the way off and remove the gas and the lines and all that, but made a pretty good hole when I pulled it down and out. As most alternators have, this has a pinch, a pinch thing here. When you put the bottom bolt in, it puts this little slide, it slides in and pinches the alternator in this bracket, and that usually makes it difficult to get out. You're gonna have to use a small pry bar or big screwdriver and pry this alternator out of that. Okay, here's the issue I'm running into. The air conditioner high side line is in the way. It's catching between the alternator bracket, the bottom pinch bolt bracket, and the AC line. So this is just 3 bolts, 1, 2, 3, holding that on, versus all the Freon and the hassle of O-rings and all that jazz from removing this. So I'm going to try to remove that first and see if it'll let me remove the alternator. Okay, so I'm completely wrong about it being just these 3 bolts. I loosened them and it's not loose at all, so I follow up here and see that it actually continues on to the power steering bracketry up there. So I was able to move actually bent the aluminum line here a little bit on the high side. You guys can see it. This aluminum line here, and was able to pull it down and out of the way far enough to get the alternator out, and it came out this hole. It was quite a bit of wiggling to get it out of there, but it came out. Okay, once you get the alternator in there, which you will, it takes some doing to do, but you can get it in there. You're gonna go ahead and start the bolt and the anti-spin nut on the back side of it and rest it in this. It's not a bolt hole, it's just like a trough there, and it'll rest in there. And you're gonna rotate the alternator to kind of line up the top bolt. I can't do it with one hand. You're gonna line that up and then start the top bolt before you tighten this down. Which I don't think you can tighten it now without the top bolt in there, but anyway, you're going to want to line that top one. Okay, we got it all back together. Belt's on there, vehicle's running, and there's no more wobble on the alternator pulley there, and there's no more noise. It was making a horrific noise, but when I took this old one, I went and had it bench tested. It didn't make any noise either, but it does wobble. So I was really concerned that the noise was coming from somewhere else, that I may have misdiagnosed it. But I believe we got the problem solved. Now, on this, you can actually order just this piece, the pulley for these alternators. If your alternator is still working, which this one is, it's a good alternator. But you can order these on Amazon and eBay. And there's a bolt in here, I think 17 millimeter Allen key. And then you can just replace this piece. This alternator was around $225 at AutoZone. This piece is about 60 bucks on Amazon and eBay, but we didn't have the time to wait for the delivery. We had to have the car going today. So here we are, and it looks good. I hope we saved you some money. You can do it yourself. You can most definitely do this. It's hard, challenging, but you can do it. What do you say, Nick?
Bye-bye. See you later, alligator on the YouTube channel.
Bye-bye, YouTube channel.
Yeah, you like this? Watch this.
Hey, Nick, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
So have a good day.